My wife said she was saving for our future. Now I've discovered she's been funding her secret boyfriend's lifestyle with my money. I'm a 34-year-old man, and until a few months ago I thought I was building a solid life with my wife, Hannah. We'd been married 5 years. No kids yet. But we'd been working hard, putting money aside for a down payment on a house. Every month, I watched thousands leave my account and flow into our savings fund. Hannah insisted she was managing it. She was always organized with bills, so I never questioned it. But lately, things weren't adding up. Every time I asked to see the balance, she brushed me off. Don't worry, I've got it handled. Surprise me when we're ready to buy. Cute, right? Except the surprise turned out to be something I could never have imagined. One day, I got a call from the bank. They'd flagged unusual activity, repeated transfers from our joint account to another checking account under Hannah's name. Then from that account, multiple purchases, men's designer clothes, electronics, hotel stays in another city. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. Maybe she was buying gifts for me, planning something. But when I dug deeper, the pattern was obvious. The dates of those hotel charges lined up perfectly with the weekends she claimed to be visiting her cousin out of town. My stomach dropped. That night, I confronted her. Hannah, where's all the money going? I asked, my voice shaking. She didn't even flinch. She just smiled, like she'd been waiting for this moment, and said, if you have to ask, then you already know. And just like that, my entire world cracked open. The way she said it, calm, almost smug, was like a punch to the gut. If you have to ask, then you already know. No denial, no scrambling to explain, just an open admission, as if she'd grown bored of hiding it. I sat there, staring at her, waiting for some kind of clarification. Who is he? I finally asked. My voice didn't even sound like mine. It was low, hollow. She shrugged. Does it matter? That broke something in me. Of course it matters. You've been draining our savings, Hannah. That money was for a house, for our life. And you've been what? Playing sugar mama to some guy. Her lips curved into the smallest smile, one I'll never forget. Not some guy. His name is Ryan. He makes me feel alive again. Ryan? The name bounced in my head like an echo chamber. I didn't know any Ryans in her family. I didn't know any Ryans at all. I demanded to know more, and eventually the dam broke. She admitted she'd met him at her gym. Younger than her, 28, apparently. Jobless at the moment, but working on some startup idea. And somehow, she had decided that he deserved our money more than we did. Every dollar she siphoned from our joint account went to him. Clothes, rent, gadgets, nights in expensive hotels. All while she kept telling me we needed to cut back, and that times were tough. I felt sick. I asked her flat out, so what am I to you, then? Just your ATM. She didn't deny it. She actually had the nerve to say, you're stable, responsible, but he makes me feel wanted. I get the best of both worlds. That was the moment I realized she hadn't just betrayed me, she'd been using me, calculating every move to make sure her little double life ran smoothly. The rage boiled in my chest, but I forced myself to think clearly. I asked for proof, not because I doubted her, but because I needed it in black and white. She pulled out her phone like she'd been waiting for the chance, scrolled through photos, her and Ryan in restaurants, in his apartment, in our car that she'd let him drive. One picture showed him in the leather jacket I'd noticed missing from my closet. That's when I lost it. I grabbed the phone and scrolled faster, heart racing. Messages popped up, can't wait till you're free for good. Don't worry, babe. He'll never catch on. Love how you spoil me, queen. Every word was another knife to the chest. I dropped the phone on the table like it was on fire. My hands were shaking, my head pounding. You've been stealing from me to keep some deadbeat comfortable, while I've been working myself into the ground. She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Don't make it so dramatic. It's not stealing. We both contributed to that account. I just decided to spend my share differently. Her share. My vision went red. Your share was for our future, not for some parasite who doesn't even have a job. She stood then, her voice rising for the first time. Maybe if you weren't so boring, I wouldn't need him. The words sliced deeper than any blade. Years of loyalty, erased in one sentence. I didn't trust myself to stay in that room. I grabbed my jacket, stormed out, and sat in the car for an hour, gripping the steering wheel, trying not to put my fist through the windshield. The betrayal was total. Emotional, financial, physical. She hadn't just cheated, she dismantled our life and smiled while doing it. And as much as it hurt, I knew one thing for certain. This wasn't just the end of our marriage. This was war. That night, sitting in my car, I realized I couldn't just walk away empty-handed. Hannah had drained our savings, made me look like a fool, and built a secret second life using my hard work. If I left quietly, she'd keep everything she wanted, the boyfriend, the money, the control. No, I wasn't going to let her win, so I started planning. The first step was gathering evidence. I logged into our joint account and printed every statement for the past year, line after line of charges that had nothing to do with fertility treatments and everything to do with Ryan. High-end clothing stores, hotel rooms billed for two, electronics, even a PlayStation I never saw in our house. Next, I pulled Hannah's phone records. She had her login saved on our laptop, so with a few clicks I was staring at a call log littered with late-night conversations to Ryan's number. Dozens of calls stretching until 2 or 3 a.m. the exact hours. She'd been too tired to touch me. But the real jackpot came when I checked her email. She'd saved confirmations for the hotel bookings, some even under my name, probably to make it look like we were on a trip together if anyone ever asked. I forwarded everything to a private folder, then to a USB drive I hid at my office. Now I had proof, but I needed leverage. I met with a divorce lawyer, laying out the entire story. When I handed him the thick folder of evidence, he whistled. She used joint funds to support an affair. This isn't just grounds for divorce. This is marital fraud. With what you've got here, we can argue she owes you reimbursement for every cent she spent on him. The thought of watching her explain that in front of a judge made my blood run hot in the best way. But I wasn't done. I wanted Ryan exposed too. I tracked down his social media. It wasn't hard. The guy wasn't discreet. His Instagram was full of photos, in new clothes, holding gadgets, sipping cocktails in hotel lobbies. All of it matched the purchases from our account. The best part, his profile wasn't private, which meant I could screenshot everything. And I did. Hundreds of photos, side by side with the receipts. They painted a perfect picture of how Hannah had been financing his life. The rage in me shifted into something sharper, colder. This wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about revenge. I decided I wouldn't confront them yet. Not directly. Instead, I let her keep thinking she was in control. When she said she was going to visit her cousin the next weekend, I smiled and said, "Of course. Have fun." She didn't realize I'd already tracked the hotel she'd booked. That Saturday, I drove there, parked across the street, and waited. Sure enough, I saw them, Hannah and Ryan, walking hand in hand through the lobby doors. She looked happy, carefree, like she hadn't destroyed our life. I took photos, dozens, them laughing at the bar, him kissing her cheek, her whispering in his ear. Every image was another nail in the coffin I was building for her. When I drove away, I didn't feel broken anymore. I felt focused. She thought she was untouchable. But soon, everyone, her friends, her family, the court, would see exactly who she really was. And when the truth came out, she wouldn't just lose me, she'd lose everything. I didn't sleep much that week, not because I was broken anymore, but because my mind was racing with every possible way to dismantle her lies. She had taken me for granted, drained me dry, and laughed in my face about it. But she didn't realize I had the one thing she couldn't buy with my money, the truth. I picked my moment carefully. Our 5th wedding anniversary was coming up, and she'd already made dinner plans with her family. They loved her, always saw her as the perfect daughter, who had tamed me into a responsible husband. I figured there couldn't be a more fitting stage to reveal who she really was. The day came. We arrived at the restaurant she'd chosen, a fancy place she insisted was special to us. Funny enough, I didn't remember us ever eating there before, but it was one of the hotels from her receipts. That detail made my blood boil in a strangely calm way. Her parents, her sister, even a couple of close friends were there. The wine flowed, the food arrived, and everyone was chatting happily. Hannah smiled across the table at me, as if nothing was wrong, as if she hadn't spent the night before in Ryan's bed. When dessert came, I stood up, tapping my glass for attention. "I'd like to make a toast," I said. The room quieted. Hannah and I have been through a lot these past few years. We've been saving, planning, dreaming of a future together. At least that's what I thought. Her smile froze. I pulled the thick envelope from my jacket and laid it on the table. But while I was working overtime to build that future, Hannah was busy building another life. With him, I spread the photos across the table, printouts of the hotel receipts, the bank transfers, the Instagram shots of Ryan in clothes she bought him, and finally, the pictures I'd taken myself, Hannah and Ryan walking hand in hand, laughing in the lobby, kissing at the bar. The table went silent. Her sister gasped. Her father's face went beet red. Hannah lunged forward, trying to scoop up the papers. "This is private," she shrieked. I pulled them back calmly. "Not anymore. You stole from me, Hannah. From us. You drained the money we were supposed to use for a home. You lied about fertility treatments. You funneled it all into funding your boyfriend's lifestyle. And you laughed in my face when I asked you about it." Her mother whispered, horrified. "Is this true?" Hannah's voice cracked as she tried to regain control. "It's not what it looks like. He's twisting things." But her sister cut her off. No, it looks exactly like what it is. The weight of the room crushed her. She looked around desperately, searching for someone to defend her, but no one moved. I leaned down, my voice low enough that only she could hear. This is only the beginning. Tomorrow, the lawyer files the divorce papers. Every cent you spent on him, you'll be forced to pay back. And when the court sees this evidence, you'll have nothing left. Her face went pale. I straightened, raised my glass one last time, and said loud enough for everyone, "Here's to truth, to finally knowing who someone really is before it's too late." I left the restaurant without touching my dessert. Behind me, Hannah broke down, sobbing, her family surrounding her in shock and disgust. Walking into the cool night air, I felt lighter than I had in months. But the real reckoning was still to come. Court. And I intended to make sure her betrayal was carved into the record for good. The weeks after that dinner felt like a storm tearing through our lives. Hannah tried everything: calls, texts, begging messages that swung wildly from apologetic to furious. At first, she wrote things like, "We can fix this. He didn't mean anything. Don't ruin everything we built." By the end, her words were venom. "If you go through with this, I'll make sure you regret it. I'll tell everyone you were abusive. No one will believe you over me." She underestimated how prepared I was. My lawyer had already filed the divorce petition, attaching every piece of evidence: the receipts, the emails, the hotel photos, the social media screenshots, the phone logs. It was airtight. Every dollar she'd siphoned was accounted for. When the court date arrived, Hannah showed up with her lawyer, and a face painted with fake innocence. She tried to spin it, claimed Ryan was just a friend, going through a rough time, that she had been helping him out financially. But my lawyer slammed the photos of them holding hands in the hotel lobby onto the desk. Then the bank statements, the email confirmations, the late-night phone records. Finally, my own pictures of them kissing. The judge's eyes narrowed. "Mrs. Carter, this is not support for a friend. This is evidence of an affair funded by marital assets." Hannah's lawyer tried to object, but it was useless. The hammer came down hard. Not only was she denied alimony, but she was ordered to reimburse me nearly every cent she'd spent on Ryan. The judge called it egregious misuse of joint funds. In one stroke, she lost everything she thought she'd gained by betraying me. Her family turned their backs too. Her father wouldn't take her calls after the dinner humiliation. Her mother told her she'd never seen such selfishness. Her sister openly called her disgusting. The perfect image she had worked so hard to protect was shattered. And Ryan, the moment her bank accounts froze and the money dried up, he vanished. Deleted her from Instagram, blocked her number, gone like smoke. All her sacrifices, all the lies, all the schemes, wasted on a man who never cared once the free ride ended. I should have felt triumphant. In some ways, I did. But sitting in my apartment that first night after the court ruling, I realized something: revenge doesn't heal you. It doesn't erase the nights of doubt, the empty bed, the humiliation of discovering your entire marriage was a con. What it does give you, though, is clarity. I looked at the box of evidence I had collected, the ugly proof of betrayal. Then I shut it, locked it away, and promised myself I'd never open it again. It was time to stop letting her live rent-free in my head. I started small, going back to the gym, cooking meals for myself, seeing old friends without having to explain why Hannah wasn't there. Each day, I rebuilt a piece of myself she had tried to hollow out. Months later, I heard through the grapevine that Hannah had moved into a tiny apartment alone, working part-time at a job she hated. Ryan was long gone. Her name was whispered like a cautionary tale in her own family circles. As for me, I wasn't fully healed. Some nights I still woke up angry, replaying the lies. But other nights, I slept peacefully for the first time in years. The truth is, betrayal leaves scars. But scars are proof you survived. And though I walked away with less money and more pain than I ever imagined, I also walked away with something Hannah would never have again: my integrity, my freedom, and the ability to build a future without lies. Even now, I don't know if I'll ever trust someone so deeply again, but I do know this: I'd rather be alone and honest than chained to someone who saw me as nothing more than a bank account. Because in the end, she didn't just lose me, she lost the mask she hid behind. And I gained the one thing she couldn't steal back: myself. Follow me for more stories.